Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Take Us Seriously podcast, where we talk all things sports. And we'd like to hear y'all opinions and share the ones that we have. We're going to talk about this NFL free agency, the haves, the have-nots, and what's been going on. So, come out the gate, obviously, Aaron Rodgers being a foregone conclusion of going to the Jets. But there's been mad chaos going on. Guys ending up in spots that we didn't think they would go to. Guys that nobody saw leaving their franchises to end up in other places. High-end guys, right? So you got Lamar Jackson and the situation in Baltimore. Ain't no telling what's going on there. Saquon staying with the Giants, which was pretty much a foregone conclusion. Nobody expected the Giants to let him walk. Shocking that they paid Danny Dimes instead of paying Saquon, but you got to pay the man throwing the ball first. That's the law. You got Tony Pollard with the Cowboys, and they release Zeke. Josh Jacobs staying with the Raiders, and then they trade Darren Waller for
which is crazy.
A bag of Cheetos. That's what they got him for. Right. And then Evan Ingram staying with the Jags, which was pretty smart. Probably the best situation for him to get utilized in.
But today we're going to talk more about the other free agent signings and more of the trades. We're going to leave the rest of those up to the powers that be. And let's dive into the first one. Derek Carr. Now, I know we talked a lot of mess about Derek Carr and the Saints before. Derek Carr was then a Raider. Now he's with the Saints. So let's see if this is a match made in heaven. I don't know. I mean, it's looking like what? $37.5 million a year, $100 million guaranteed dollars. Is it good? Is it bad? Or is it ugly? I don't know.
Shit, Derek Carr is better than any option they've been dealt with since Drew Brees. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's the best quarterback they've had since then. They already restructured with what's old boy's name, Mr. Tebow 2.0. I'm forgetting his name. I'm drawing a blank, but they already restructured the backup quarterbacks deal, and they just resigned Jameis Winston once again. So, you know what I always say: you got three quarterbacks, you got no quarterback. But hey, I don't know if this is gonna work with Derek Carr. It's a weird dynamic.
Touche. I can't argue that. But then you see that when they got insurance policy for Alvin Kamara with Jamal Williams, very, very big signing. Very big signing. You get somebody that can give you, similar production, very good between the tackles, very good red zone guy, solid pass catcher. And you got him for the low, 3 years, $12 million, $8 million guaranteed. You can call it what you want, crowded backfield, whatever, but Jamal Williams is a very solid guy, especially when you don't know the future of your primary back.
As another guy that actually is a nerd, I appreciate Jamal Williams. And after him breaking the franchise touchdown record in Detroit, I did not want to see him take pennies on the dollar with this contract. I didn't think he needed to be a top dog, but can a man get $6-7 million a year? Can he get at least a 1 year deal with it? Like, God.
I agree. I got to. I got mad love for Jamal Williams. Such a genuine individual. But a guy I got love for Michael Thomas. Now, if you don't know how I feel about Michael Thomas, you do now. Ain't it? And he never was it.
What's his favorite route?
The slant. You know that slant king. That's good.
I swear, if you had an arch nemesis, it would be Michael Thomas, because there's no other player in the league that I know that you have this much disdain for. You genuinely don't like dude. It's not because he went to Ohio State. It's not because he was at Ohio State when they beat Bama. It has nothing to do with anything besides the fact that you don't like a man that likes to run the slant.
It's not just the fact that he is. It's not that, bro. It's that he think he him, bro, and he not. He's not one of those guys. I'm sorry. I'm not. If the game's on the line, I'm not relying on Michael Thomas to save my life. No.
Hey, all I know is he restructured his deal, and now it's essentially a 1 year, $10 million, max of $15 million. So let's see if he's got something left in the tank. It's hard for me to sit here and say that he does, but he's betting on himself, and he wasn't betting on trying the Saints and not restructuring this deal, because they probably would have cut shots.
Well, 100%, especially with that young boy that they drafted last year.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you about another young boy that's kind of going under the radar, Juwan Johnson with the Saints. That's a tight end, and I know this ain't a fantasy segment. I had him last year. He gave me some real good weeks. So anybody out there that's thinking about that in the future, he's one of those guys you could probably get a little bit, maybe in the 7th, 8th, 9th round. He was a target machine too.
One of those two true relief valve kind of tight ends, or just to make those big plays when you need it.
Hey, I'd take it.
Facts. Move on. So then next we got Laramie Tunsil signing with the Texans. Not a bad pickup for the Texans. If I'm Laramie Tunsil, I probably don't go to the Texans. I mean, you follow the money.
To be fair though, he did re-sign with them because he was traded from the Dolphins. Just a quick little side. But he has came a long way since the weed days with the gas mask to turning around, and now he's the highest paid left tackle in the game.
Which is disrespectful.
Hey, that's big baller brand right here.
And we ain't even gonna talk about it because that's disrespectful as hell.
Hey, it can be disrespectful, but these M's not disrespectful. 3 years, 75 mil.
That's a fact. Like I said, you follow the
$1 guaranteed.
You follow the paper. That's rule number one. You follow the paper, and he did exactly that. You don't get many opportunities for the money to fall in your lap like that.
All teams aren't good, but their money all still spend the same.
That's a fact.
Nothing wrong with being a great player on a bad team.
Speaking of which, they brought in Jimmy Ward. Texas brought in Jimmy Ward on the low. Don't have to pay him much. A guy that already knows the scheme because he was with DeMeco Ryans last year. And quad is kept. Texas brought in Dalton Schultz and who else did they sign?
Robert Woods.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz and Robert Woods. Not like Robert Woods is. Had to make sure I emphasize that. Not him. I mean, he makes the wide receiver room better, as we already know, especially with the loss of Brandon Cooks. It didn't make the wide receiver room worth a damn.
No, it doesn't give him 40 balls.
Maybe. If he can stay on the field.
Speaking of a guy that can't stay on the field too long, Jamel Dean with the Bucks. 4-year, $52 million, $21 million guaranteed. He's got talent.
And they let Brake walk. They let Leonard Fournette walk.
Yep.
They looks wide open. I don't know what they're gonna do with all that money because that don't look like no success in sight. But
you know who else they signed? Baker Mayfield. Signed to the 1 year, $8.5 million. They gave him that little bag.
And you know what's crazy, bro? Like, obviously everybody knows I'm a Pats fan. Everybody knows I'm a Brady guy. So I still would mess with the Bucks, but as soon as they signed Baker Mayfield, that shit's gone. Bye. Absolutely.
I will say
Baker is easily a player I hate more than easily. For sure.
I'm not going to sit here and say that Baker has absolutely no talent. He's got some, but is he good enough to will a team like this to the playoffs? I don't really think so. Even with the NFC being weak, it's kind of hard to bet on that. But could he put up 20 touchdowns and 16 picks? Yeah, he could do that. But remember when we lauded Jameis Winston for throwing 30 and 30? Yeah, he could do something like 20 and 20. He got that in him. He got that Rondo triple-double, that Magic Johnson triple-double in him.
I'd stake my left nut on Baker being the worst quarterback in their division.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and actually go through the list with you with that, but a list of a quarterback that I do think will be more successful than Baker. Gardner Minshew with the Colts. Although I still don't think he's going to be the starter for very long because whoever the Colts draft is probably going to be the starter by week 8 or 9, but whatever. But Gardner Minshew, though, I don't hate the pickup. He's a high-level backup. We saw what he did with Philly last year. We saw what he did with the Jags when he was over there before he got traded. He's a decent guy. He's not terrible. He'll bring some livelihood to the fan base. And he's an upgrade that nobody really cares about, but he can win you a couple games.
Went ahead and added some extra solid signings and bringing in Samson Ebukam, defensive end from the Niners. They brought in Isaiah McKenzie, give him a couple more weapons. They making appropriate choices. They'll probably draft a quarterback, somebody to sit next to Gardner Minshew, or create a quarterback competition. They're doing the right things. Don't know what it's going to amount to, but going in the right direction regardless.
I still don't love the direction of the Colts, though, because of their coach and because of them letting go of Gilmore. So it's a little hard for me to say that it's all good, but it's not all bad.
Agreed. But at the same time, though, I don't know. Nah, man, I understand letting go of Gilmore because he is getting up there in age. They don't have the cap space to continue to try to compete and pay him. So you let him go, cut your losses, because you don't even know how many more great or high level years you're going to get out of him. And you keep that cap space for somebody younger, or you fill another void. Quarterbacks, another high level, or I don't know if high level is the appropriate word, but he played at a very high level last season in Geno Smith.
Okay.
Re-signing with Seattle, best decision he ever made, especially seeing as they finally found a way to make his talent flourish, and they got him on a team-friendly deal. $25 million a year guaranteed. You can't beat that, especially with a quarterback that has developed the way we seen Geno develop last year.
Very well deserving of comeback player of the year. Very well deserving. Well,
No
he
argument.
came out of nowhere. We were thinking he was the backup, and it was Drew Lock's job because they traded for him as well with the Russell deal. We thought he was going to lose the battle. Guess what? Geno's still sitting here at the top of the hill. It's a little hard to discredit Geno in this very moment. I still am not going to sit here and say that he's the franchise, but if you watch an interview of Geno, if you actually see him play and you see the way the team crowds around him, it's hard not to root for the guy. I gotta be honest. He's a good feel-good story.
Yeah, very, very well-rounded dude.
Somehow, some way, these Vikings found a way to annoy me once again, because Marcus Davenport going to the Vikings is just bolstering their defense with a potential star. I mean, truthfully, he's a guy that has a lot of talent, but can he put it together? Can he stay healthy? He's on a prove-it deal right now. What is it? 1 year, $13 million. The Vikings defensive line, it has to shore up, because they can't have people go down and them just being able to get ran on and all the time in the world for the quarterback or the opposing quarterback. They can't have that. So somehow, some way, hopefully Marcus Davenport is able to make an impact on this defense and be the saving grace that they need.
Dude had high talent, to say the least. Yeah. Very high talent, very good for the Saints the past couple years. It definitely sucks for the Saints because they lost a lot of that depth that made their defense so vicious for such an extended period of time. But very great pickup for Minnesota. And if he does pan out, it could be very big for Minnesota.
Speaking of very big, speaking of very controversial, disclaimer, not a Cowboys fan, but I love to agitate my little brother. Them boys! It's time to talk about the Cowboys. Because for once in the franchise history in like the last 5-10 years, you guys actually made a good move. And guess what? Is it Christmas? Y'all made 2 good moves. Y'all got Brandon Cooks for like a 4th or 5th round pick, and then it was a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, 3rd round.
It's Stephon Gilmore. Was it a 4th or 5th? I think that's what it was that you ended up trading for.
Got him for pennies.
Actually made the move. They got him for pennies on the dollar.
And then let your tight end go.
They did.
They tight end go. Let Noah Brown go. Let Connor McGovern go. Take the good with the bad, I guess. Nobody.
I'm not going to sit here and act like they also did. They re-signed Leighton Vander Esch. That's not a huge deal. They also re-signed. I think his name is Donovan Smith, the safety that they got. Good impact player for them. So they're able to keep their core together. For the most part on defense. And hey, they still got Tony Pollard there. They just signed Ronald Jones as well to be the little bruiser. Let's see if they can make something happen, because they had to cut the fat with Zeke, because that boy was plotting. What is it? The last 50 carries, he was averaging like 2 yards carry. Can't have that. you just can't have that. There's bigger, there's better out.
None of this shit matters when the head of the snake is still Dak Prescott. So next.
I'm a cape for you, Dak. I still think you're going to be a top 5-ish quarterback. Maybe probably 7, 8-ish. I'm going to still say he's going to be a top tier level quarterback.
You disgust me.
But another team that was discussing to the Cowboys, the Eagles. They made some moves, some good, not so good, some not so good. One of the good ones they did, Rashad Penny.
I don't feel a need to it was going to be hard for Philly to begin with, because they had so much going on and so many moving pieces this coming into this offseason that we all knew it was gonna be interesting regardless. And let's just start from the top, right? So Javon Hargrave, they didn't have the money to pay Javon Hargrave. So you gotta let him walk. He goes to San Fran. Quiet as is kept, that's probably the best free agent move so far this free agency, in my opinion. Because you put Javon Hargrave in the middle and Nick Bosa still on the outside, and was it Armstead? Yeah, Eric Armstead. In that disgusting linebacker core, that front seven is crazy. But then back to the Eagles, bringing back James Bradbury, great idea. They let Andre Dillard go. Oh, well, is what it is. Let Miles Sanders go, replaces him with Rashad Penny. Not a bad one-for-one swap. Miles Sanders gets more money. You get Rashad Penny on a cheaper deal. Yep, not a bad swap. Brought back Isaac Samalo. Good decision. TJ Edwards, let him go to Chicago. Like I said, you can't keep the depth because you ain't got the bread for it. Brought back Jason Kelsey. Great idea. Marcus Epps is gone. Is what it is. But it sucks. But you got to do what you got to do. Kept Fletcher Cox.
I was going to say, guess what other DB's gone? Marcus Epps is gone. So is CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's gone too.
And that sucks. Hey. To lose that type of depth is ass. But got to do what you got to do, right? I don't know.
It sounds like you a little mum on these Eagles this year, just because that's a lot of turnover.
It is. I will 100%. So prime example, as much as I like Rashad Penny, right? He's not Miles Sanders, and he can't even stay healthy enough to make it halfway through the season. What you gonna do? Rely on Boston Scott to be your number one back all season?
I don't got answers for you, man. But all I know is the Eagles, they made a lot of questionable decisions, and that's kind of how Howie Roseman he runs this. He's a great GM, amazing GM. But when you keep rolling the dice and you keep getting all these studs, yeah, you can never have too much talent. But at some point, you gotta pay the piper.
And can't forget that they made sure they brought back Darius Slay. Great,
and they paid him too.
Ain't had no choice. Oh, they brought in Greedy Williams too. Can't stay on the field long enough.
All right, he got tight hamstrings. We ain't gonna talk about that. Let's also not forget, though, they did bring in Marcus Mariota as a backup quarterback. So at least they did solidify the QB room a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if Jalen Hurts goes down, you don't got to change the offense. It's the same. So
For sure. I won't argue that.
We're going to keep it in all right. But we're going to keep it NFC East over here, though. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail with Daniel Jones. $40 million a year, $82 million guaranteed. Is how we paying these boys?
Let me say this. Daniel Jones is better than whatever other option they would have had. There's that. Mm-hmm. He has the physical talents. We know that. Is he inconsistent? Yes. In the same breath, we have yet to see what Daniel Jones can do with solid, healthy receiving options. This motherfucker not made it through a season yet with any type of chemistry with his receiving core.
That's fair.
So we can make all the arguments against it, but there's solid justification at the same time for him getting it in the same breath. So I don't love it or hate it. For me, it's more one of those, let's see what happens. Especially with the fact that they went and traded a bag of chips to get Darren Waller. They brought in Paris Campbell, solid hands, top end speed, Ohio boy. So I'm supporting that. They've made appropriate decisions in the right direction. They've already shored up the defense. I think they're making the right choices.
I get it. Daniel Jones deserves to get what he's getting, if for anything else, for pain and suffering, because the New York media be destroying this man. They didn't just win all these games, go to a playoff berth off the legs of Daniel Jones, off the legs of Graham Gano, and off the legs of Saquon Barkley. I know I've said it before, and people have said it again. It don't matter. They made good sandwiches out of bullshit. Truth be told, I mean, they didn't deserve to be where they were. So hey, I'll give them credit where credit's due. I still think it's overpaying when you can get Jimmy G for $25 million a year, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go on to the Commanders. Commanders making the big splash, paying 4 years, $90 million, $60 million guaranteed to this man, $22.5 million a year. It's big paper. They dropped the bag on this man's doorstep. They wasn't playing around. Is this where they really need to spend their money, though? Truthfully,
Deron Payne is good, bro. He's good as fuck. Yeah. He's elite. A good pass rush is everything. A good pass. All I can see is a good pass rush is everything, bro. I'm big on that. A good pass rush is everything. They got a whole lot of problems, and your defense only gonna get you so far. Their DBs are questionable at best. What's your boy, the Ohio State boy? He's still a free agent.
Chase Young? No, I'm not positive his situation. I'm not going to speak on his because I'm not really sure.
I think he has 1 year left on his contract, if I remember.
I'm pretty sure he's in his 5th year option right now, but I'm not really sure. But either way, the Commanders are not in the most optimal position. But hey, you know what, Eric Bieniemy, if you can make this thing happen, you're gonna get a job somewhere.
If Eric Bieniemy, I know we talked about this, so we're not gonna dabble on this too much. But if Eric Bieniemy can bring something out of this, he probably gonna get that job. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's very possible. They could just move on from Rivera and go ahead and elevate him over to the helm. We'll see what happens. But these Bills, you got to talk about these Bills because Jordan Poyer. They somehow found a way to resign Jordan Poyer. They somehow found a way to resign what's the other linebackers? Matt Milano. They found a way to make some things shake.
And they lost. And they paid good money too. Now the loss of Tremaine Edmonds sucks.
It does. That does.
It sucks. You can't pay all your horses. That's the story of the NFL. You have to pay the guys that you think put you in the best position to continue to succeed. There's a solid argument that Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer at maximum health and efficiency are arguably the best safety tandem in the league. You know, you do what you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Them safeties will cost you a little bit less than them linebackers in this situation. So,
especially with Tremaine Edmonds going to Chicago and getting $72 million, they didn't have it to pay him. And aside from that, letting Devin Singletary walk, I don't quite understand it. Maybe they gearing up for
here you go, Derrick Henry.
No. I mean, they could be gearing up to go get Derrick. But I mean, it's a possibility, but maybe they just gearing up for what's his name, Dalvin Cook's little brother to be the number one guy.
James Cook.
Yeah, James Cook be the number one guy, and they still have Naeem Hines. They brought him in from the Colts. They have a solid two-back system. Could be interesting. I still like letting Isaiah McKenzie walk. Neither here nor there. They brought in Trent Sherfield as a replacement. They got a ton of guys on that roster. They throw to a ton of guys to begin with. And bringing in Damian Harris. They backfilled the spots that they lost with questionable choices, but potentially well-rounded decisions there.
Yeah, they trying it. But we're going to keep it in the AFC East, though. Because with the AFC East, we got the Dolphins. Now, I know you don't want to talk about this, but the Dolphins is really making it real hard for you as a Pats fan to sit here and really feel confident about your team making the playoffs or just not being fourth.
I'm stressed out, bro. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Because not only do I got to deal with bro. Miami brought in David Long. They brought in Jalen Ramsey. We got Mike Gesicki from them. They lost to Landon Roberts, and then but aside from that, for the most part, Miami kept that whole team together. They really didn't lose much. They lost Byron Jones. They haven't necessarily re-signed Teddy Bridgewater yet. Eric Rowe still available. Melvin Ingram, so on and so forth. But for the most part, the people they need are still there. The core of that team is all under contract. And then you want to bring David Long and Jalen Ramsey to my division. And not to mention, now I got to deal with Aaron Rodgers, potentially, more than likely. I already had to deal with Josh Allen, bro. Like, shit's crazy, bro.
You just better be happy if you get 6 wins. That's all I'm gonna say.
Don't start that disrespect shit, bro. Let's say that for another.
We'll go into that another episode. So that'll be another time. But go ahead with your Patriots, though, man. The floor is yours. You know, take your Patriots love. They're next to the AFC East still. Go ahead. We got that.
So first of all, I don't support the fact that we pay Juju Smith-Schuster what Jacoby Myers wanted. By no stretch of means do I think Juju is an upgrade from Jacoby Myers. Let's start there.
But he's bigger.
Shut up. I do like bringing back Jonathan Jones, veteran cornerback presence. Will he be the number one guy? Probably not. I like him regardless. I like bringing Japiro Peppers back. Very happy about Mike Gesicki. Hopefully we go back to running the 2 tight end system. Loved it Love to watch it growing up. Gives Mac Jones an opportunity to make easy progressions, big on the play action game. And again, unless we magically sign one of these good free agent wide receivers, I like our wide receiver room. I don't love it.
What about Dante
James-
Hightower?
We got great years out of Dante Hightower and
Jamie Collins,
Evan McCourty, and
Devin
I'm very happy to have had them be career Patriots. Sad to see him go, but so is the life. It'd be like that. I guess they assuming Mac Wilson is. I guess Mac Wilson will be the guy over the middle, and Jawan Bentley. I like them both. Don't love them both. Like them both. So it'll be interesting. Let Damian Harrison walk and brought James Robinson in as his replacement. Not angry with our free agent. Yeah, very, very cheap. Very cheap. Which is Bill Belichick in a nutshell, bro. I'm not surprised. Let's say that. If we do pay some money, hopefully it's for one of these top end wide receiver options. I'd love it. I'd be very happy. At least if we do that, if we go get one of those top end guys, it forces Juju's role down with the acquiring Mike Gesicki, and we still have Hunter Henry. I think that opens up a lot of options for us offensively. I feel like we could have spent more bread defensively, but it is what it is. Bill Belichick don't pay for nobody. So that is what that is.
I'll not be long-winded. I'll just say I just am happy that you guys get to come to the bottom with my team now, because we all know Lamar he's disgruntled and he's probably going to leave. So you guys, the Patriots, get to sit with us, the Ravens, down probably at the bottom of our division, because it's not looking good and there's no wins in sight. We gonna be fighting for each and every one of them.
You hate. I just want you to know that. But you know what?
Misery loves company. Come join me.
Rather not. I'd rather not, honestly.
And if you made it this far, guys, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But always remember, don't take us seriously, guys. Have fun, live, laugh, and love, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.